beautiful humans. I'm Jem Madrone, and today I wanted to jump in and talk about what happens after we've done a lot of processing through the awakening process. What happens once we've had these enormous experiences, we've had these big pivotal moments of change, and again, sometimes this happens quickly and sometimes it happens over a long period of time. But still, for everyone, there seems to come a point where we move through this process and it was life changing. And we've had a whole new perspective shift. We have a whole different view on life. We are a different person, essentially. But often, when we then move back into life, it feels like nothing has changed. We're completely different inside, but nothing around us has changed. We're kind of a stranger in a strange land. And it can feel really strange trying to figure out how to move forward through this, how to integrate these new realizations, understandings, and the new us into this life that we already have. Because most of us have a pretty strong structure in our life when we go through the awakening process. We usually have, a job or maybe a family, lots of friends, a habits and certain schedules in our life. And then everything turns upside down, and eventually we try to go back in and integrate the two. And it can feel like we are living a dual life, living two lives, that we have our inner world where we are doing this inner work, where we have our spiritual practices, where we're experiencing amazing shifts in dimensions, shifts in perspectives, shifts in how we receive information. And then we have our regular life where we're raising the kids, we're taking them to school, we're going to our job, or we're just having coffee with our friends and there's a lot of small talk involved. And it it usually feels like there's a big divide at first, like we have these two separate lives. And that is fairly normal. But over time, the two start to integrate. And the question that was asked was how to implement the new information, the new wisdom, the new us into this life structure that we already have. And oftentimes we have a big drive and push to do something different and new in our life, which sometimes is exactly what's needed. Sometimes quitting that job, leaving the relationship, switching things up is exactly what's needed, but not always. So, this is where we have to listen to our intuition, and this is where the fact that it's not really about what we do, it's how we do it. And so, if we are moving forward, we want to do something huge with this spiritual understanding and healing that we've experienced. And we decide to move forward um, and, whatever it is, open up a school of meditation or something like that. If you're doing it from the mind, from the ego, from that same place of like, oh, push, 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 this is what I need to do, this is how our 3D world operates, then you're still creating the same pattern. You're not changing anything from the way you did it before. But let's say you feel that inspiration and motivation to create this school, but all of it comes from the heart center. None of it comes from the ego. It comes from this deep whispering from spirit and from your heart to move forward. And so, this is why it is so important how you do things. And it doesn't matter if you're going to pick up the kids or if you're creating this meditation center, it doesn't fucking matter. It only matters how you are moving forward. Are you moving forward in the old patterns, the ego-based, ego-centered patterns that you used to move forward through? And this is normal to slip back into these patterns. But as we do, then we get the awareness of how strong these patterns are and then how to change them. Or are you moving forward from that heart center, from that place of authenticity, from the new self, which is actually the old self, which is quite ironic, the eternal self, um, and moving forward really connected with who we are. And this is where the implementation comes in. This is where, when we sink into ourselves, when we connect with all of it is that we have learned, and we connect with who we really are, and then move forward from there, that is how we implement from a new place. That's how we implement everything we've learned. Because if we're moving forward from the place of the ego, we're not implementing anything. We're just doing our old patterns with a prettier facade around it. And so, to me, implementing everything that we've learned in our awakening experience means that we are moving forward from a whole different place that we probably have not moved from before. And so that involves really taking that time continually to sink into ourselves. So the daily practices are so important. Continuing the things that supported you during the really challenging parts of your awakening process, and then finding new ones that you resonate with. But the continuing those spiritual practices help bring us back into that heart space over and over and over again, so that when we do move forward, we're reminded, okay, where am I moving from? And we catch ourselves when we start to build that spiritual ego up again, and we return to the heart, and we remind ourselves, it doesn't matter what we're doing, it only matters how we're doing it. And so, all of these different pieces can be helpful. Finding a community of people to practice meditation with, that can help to integrate the pieces of our life. Doing our daily practice helps to integrate. Talking about these things can help to integrate if we are talking with people that we connect with. If we're not just talking to talk, to get it out, but finding those people that we connect with, that we can share these ideas with, and that we're not necessarily pushing them on, because that can have the opposite effect. And so as you move forward into that next phase, just be sure to bring your authentic, true, eternal self with you. Bring all of those pieces of you that you've gathered and collected during the awakening process. And remember that awakening is a continuous process, that there is a challenging, life-changing, destructive part of it. And when we get through that, then, we can move on. Life gets easier. But we never stop healing. We never stop growing, never stop expanding. We never stop awakening. And so just remember, every morning when you wake up, it's a new day to learn. It's a new day to increase your self-awareness. It's a new day to listen to what your heart has to say. So I'm sending you all so much love for this process of integration and implementation, because as we bring everything we learned forward into the world around us, we are definitely having a ripple effect on the energetic field and on the people who are in our circle, and then it keeps continuously moving out further and further and further. So if you're struggling with this part of the process, or any part of the awakening process, and you would like some assistance and support moving through it, then please private message me, and we can talk and see if the work that I do with my other clients would be a good fit for you. So sending you all so much love. If you have questions, just leave them here in the comments, and I'll see you in the Facebook group. Have a great day. Mwah.